Hi guys, Jericho Reviews here, and I'm here with my fourth review of Series 11. This time we're obviously going for Episode 4, Arachnids in the UK, written by the showrunner once again, Chris Chibnall. This episode is okay. It was okay. It was obviously trying to cash in for Halloween with the horror aspect with the spiders. Not these spiders are probably the most common phobia I think that you can find in the public. So it did make sense for it to be aired around this time, and I kind of was hoping this episode would be aired around this time. The title, Arachnids in the UK, is a pun. For some reason it's from Sex Pistols, and that is Anarchy in the UK. Quite a good song. But I don't know why it was referenced. Because I kind of was thinking this episode would maybe have like this maybe punk rocky soundtrack, but no, it didn't. But it was a nice little fun title. I really liked the title, and it is the reason why the artwork this week is based off Anarchy in the UK, but with arachnids, of course. So we have a villain in this story, Robertson, and he's kind of the owner of this hotel chain, lots of other businesses, and he is going against the warning to shut this hotel down. That's kind of what the first scene introducing to the episode. It goes immediately into the problem. We're introduced to Frankie as well, who isn't in the episode for long, but she was rather lovable. Once again, it's kind of Chris Chibnall adding that little bit of a family element, but to these characters, just the little ones who meet, they've got relationships, they have people who care about them. They're not just fodder or lambs sent to the slaughter, really. So when these characters die, you rarely kind of do think, oh god, what's her wife gonna think, and so on and so forth. We had a really fantastic time vortex. Possibly one of the best looking time vortexes I think we've ever had in the show in terms of like shots of it, because usually they always just reuse bits of the intro, and they've always, literally ever since I'm an Earthly Child, they've reused bits of the intro, and we actually got a specific render, and I think this again was done by John Smith. Beautifully done. It was very much in part with the Davison and Colin Baker intros, with that star field in the background, and just this shaky cam. It didn't quite get us a glimpse of the TARDIS. Well, it did, but we couldn't quite focus on it, is what I'm trying to say. And it really just brought upon that, sporadicness of just trying to get control through this wild wasteland, and then it comes out into this big open area in the vortex, and there's all these little vortexes, and of course the Doctor has to calculate in that time which one to go through, and I really love that. And then there's that expertly done transition into the TARDIS. Beautiful little scene. I really loved all of that, and it really did get across, just how hard time travel is. It's not just going down a single time corridor. It's through many vortexes, and beautiful. I hope we get to see more of that. Well, the goal for this episode at the start was getting the gang home to Sheffield. It's pretty much what, they never even asked to leave Earth. They just kind of got a little bit kidnapped in a way. So the Doctor finally got them back. I believe this would be the 15th time lucky they were, unless there was a little adventure maybe in a book, but who knows. And we got this quite emotional scene of the Doctor saying goodbye to the companions, and obviously the Doctor, as they usually are, they're kind of just like, are you sure you want to go? But in her own little way. I thought that was very, very charming. And then Yaz asked her to come for tea. That's become a bit of a meme on Twitter. I loved that. That was fantastic. And she just goes, oh, that'd be great. But Graham, Bradley Walsh, once again, it seems when this TARDIS team complements each other so well, because they're all very youthful, and the Doctor's in this young body again, and they're all happy moving on. But Graham grounds the scene, and I just want to go home for a little bit, because obviously Grace, it's not long since Grace has died. It may be the day after the funeral, really. it was very powerful performance by Bradley Walsh, and seeing him inside the flat, I think it was a very good representation of when someone dies. They make what those walls in the house mean, and then when you strip away that person, the walls have no meaning, and that is really what the scene was trying to convey. And it was quite a shock seeing Grace in the background, of course, just Graham thinking, harking back to episode 3, and Rosa, just saying, and I believe in episode 2, just little bits of what I just think of what Grace would do, and that's what he does. And I think that was just a little perfect little representation of what loss means to people. But on the happiest side, Yaz's family were introduced to. They were great, man. They were great. We were introduced to her sister, her mother, and her dad. Her dad was really funny with the Pecora, and Jodie goes, the terrible Pecora. I thought that was so well delivered. Jodie knows how to deliver really funny lines. She's such a well-rounded actress. I'm still completely just enamoured by her character. She's just everything I wanted the 13th Doctor to be. She's absolutely wonderful. But her sister's really funny. She's that kind of real world banter. Hope you don't crash. It's just that kind of like edgy jokes that you'll have with a sibling. I think we all have them, and it's just kind of like, oh, what a horrible thing to say. That was really funny. I think this episode was so strong in the first act. Because it was so grounded in reality, and it was of course set up the little threads, and it was just so charming to watch. I'm so disappointed though there was no scene of Jodie getting the bum bag, because I've actually been, ever since I saw the photo of her with the bum bag, I'm like, yes, the bum bag is so doctory. It makes me wonder, why haven't they actually given the Doctor a bum bag before? And the fact that there's no scene of like Jodie go, oh, this is great, and Yaz and Ryan just go, no, it's not. It's like, yeah, it's great, and then she put a Sonic in there. I would have loved a scene like that, but unfortunately not, and the bum bag was just there. But hopefully it makes a return, because I think that really it adds to her quirky character, and I think that it's so important when a Doctor's costume reflects their personality, and I think that's what Jodie's costume does really well as well. I really have fallen in love with that costume, because when that was revealed, I really was not into it all, but I'm really liking it now. Now we have context. This episode delves into the second act, and she was introduced in the first act, but I just don't really see the point of her, and it's the scientist Jade McIntyre, because she's obviously the exposition speaker in this episode, but I really didn't see the point of her, because all she does is really spit out facts about spiders and say that the spiders have been acting weird. In my opinion, I think you could have completely cut this character out and just had the Doctor, like she does in the episode, just be the spider fact person, and then maybe have Yaz's family talk about how spiders have been weird. Oh, there's been an influx of spiders, and we're always going in that direction. That would have been perfect. Like that all you need. The spiders are acting weird, and of course the locals will notice. Yeah. There's been a lot of spiders. It just all seem to be going over there, and I think that's perfect. Because I just don't think this episode had a lot of focus. There was a lot of great things, but to me, the second act, I was kind of thinking, all right, where's this actually going? And it was really in that bedroom scene when we actually see the spider, because I'm like, oh yeah, that's really creepy, but what are they going to do with this? By the way, that was so smart. This fantastic directing, having the giant spider, come out from under the bed. I thought that was brilliant, because kids tonight are going to go to bed and they are going to check onto their bed. and then they're going to be shit scared to their sheets because we saw in episode 2 the sheets tried to kill the guy in the episode. They really are trying to make kids terrified of bed, and I think that it's great because it's really cool. When Doctor Who scares you, I remember in 2006 checking my wardrobe for if a Clockwork droid was in there, and under my bed as well. That episode really did creep me as a kid, and it acts as great memories. Like, I watched The Terminator when I was 9, and then again I checked the wardrobe to see if there was a Terminator in there. So I think that's really cool that they're bringing back that scare factor. I think that's great. The spiders in this episode didn't look too great, which is a bit of a shame because I think we've had some spectacular CGI. We had the ships in episode 2, which were done brilliantly, and they looked real. That the crane shot, panning, looking down at the ship in episode 2, it looked like a model. It looked really convincing, but the spiders in this episode, not really that great. It did seem like a lot of the budget went into the previous episode, and that episode was spectacular. So, but I don't know. It didn't look too convincing for me. And I think spiders are a very hard villain in order to convey scarily, because I think they're so creepy in Planet of the Spiders because they actually have personality, because they talk. Now, people are saying, oh, these spiders should have been in the 8 legs. No, I really don't think they should have been the 8 legs, because I think there's a very nice finality to Planet of the Spiders, and of course it expands upon Big Finish and stuff like that, as usual. I really do like, it just in terms of respecting the past, I liked how the Doctor wasn't afraid of spiders, because that was John's thing. That was Pertwee's Doctor, to face his fear, and that really added such an impact to his death, him uttering those words. And people saying, oh, they should have him be, they should have Jodie be scared of spiders, as a reference to Planet Spider. No, you're missing the point. She shouldn't be scared of spiders because she got over that fear. Character development. And John, I think, is one of those perfect examples of that. So I'm really happy they didn't go down that route. And plus, I think these episodes, I don't know, I just kind of think sometimes these episodes are getting a little bit technobabbly as well. So it's nice that this was kind of a bit of a straightforward and relaxed episode. But I don't know, it just didn't really seem to have much focus to me going back. The villain Robertson, this episode I think would have been way better without him. Again, another character I think he could have cut. Why couldn't this have been a quirky but also scary in the vein of, like, I don't know, Sam Raimi's Evil Dead, this horror movie but with these really sort of weird funny bits. Why couldn't we have had that, with the gang trying to get to the bottom of these spiders? Because I don't know, it's like, it was like he was an allegory on Trump, but he says he hated Trump. So it was that completely lost me. So I was like, what's kind of the point in him? So is he a commentary on American gun control? And I've wrote down in my notes, did this episode want to be an exploration of family and loss, a scary episode, a quirky romp, or a commentary on American gun control? And I wanted to be all of those things, but there was no focus on how to get past each one, because they raised the problems with American gun control in the episode, and Robertson as an arsehole is just like, oh, what's wrong with your country? You're just you should just shoot something like a normal civilized person. Where's the solution to that problem? Like, when he when he shoots this poor spider, where was the Doctor just snapping at him? Like, not only does I think this contradicts the character of the Doctor, but it contradicts what's been established with the 13th Doctor so far. Even Ryan learned, there was that brilliant callback of Ryan, I said, when he mentioned, Robertson mentioned he's got the gun, and Ryan just goes, she's not going to like that. He's learned. I loved that lovely bit of character development for Ryan. But and she had a go at Ryan for the gun, but why didn't she have a go at Robertson with the gun? I don't know. it just seemed like he just got away scot-free. There was no like smear on him and his campaign. The whole thing about becoming president as well, I thought was a bit pointless as well. I have a feeling that there maybe in a future episode they're going to land and he's president of the United States, and the world's gone a bit fucked up. It really does seem like there's no finality to these villains in this series, and I think it is time the show just gives us a good villain, because I think really all the villains from Series 5 are memorable. And Stephen Moffat's first series, we had the really the smilers, the really creepy smilers in the second episode, and then Victory in the Dalek. It just seems like it was maybe trying to portray itself on family, but also be a Halloween episode as well. So I don't know. It was a little bit weird, the tone of this episode. I think that the way it wasn't structurally sound kind of broke it a bit apart for me. The hotel as a setting, I when they're running around, I didn't actually feel like it was a hotel, which is a shame because I think they've really done some amazing set pieces. Rosa last week was fantastic. As I said, I completely felt like I was I felt like I was in Alabama 1955 with these characters. So in this hotel that's kind of unfinished and there's nothing really that hotel-y about it. I don't know. It was a bit of a weird setting. So the second act kind of just troddles through with a lot of this stuff. It's very expedition-y. And then we get to the third act. And I think this has a really fantastic solution, which Ryan implements. And the Doctor says that spiders, they find their food through vibration. They're guided towards it in the spider web. They're moving about. And through the web, the vibration travels to the spider. Thanks, Spider-Man and comic books. That's how I know that. And pretty much common fact, pretty much common knowledge anyway, but always makes me think of Spider-Man with that. And Ryan brings in the grime music, and it's Stormzy, Know Me From, and what a scene. Like, I've really wanted one of those scenes with Jodie in this series, and I didn't think we were going to get it, because she very much seems like the quirky Doctor who'd try and be cool and listen to that. And I just thought that was funny, and her reaction is hilarious, just this big goofy smile. And the music, it acted as in-universe music, what was going on, but it also acted as a soundtrack to the scene, and I think that was wonderful. It was quite funny seeing the spiders, trot along to the music, and I thought that was absolutely hilarious. That was fantastic. Very charming, and I liked how Doctor Who's implemented modern music as well. And it wasn't like last week's Rosa, where it was superimposed on top. It was a natural flow. And by the way, I still don't have a problem with the music at the end of Rosa. I know people still have kind of an issue, but I like the music at the end. But in this episode, with the music, I thought that was spectacularly done once again. Very contrasting uses. I really liked it. The whole thing of like the landfill underneath the hotel, that was kind of like the message, for the environment and stuff like that. So again, trying to convey, I think, too many messages and trying to convey too many things, when I really think this episode should have just been completely focused on family loss and having a romp around with spiders with horror elements as well. I've spoken to a few people and they agree the villain of the story, Robertson, was the completely worst part of it. I do agree. It just seemed like not sure what they were trying to go for. Which I'm disappointed by, because I was really looking forward to this episode, because I really do like a lot of this episode, and I think I've spoken more about likes than dislikes so far. And what's weird is that this episode, it was very hyped up. There's a lot of marketing behind this episode, and BBC America's Doctor Who Twitter were doing all these posts with spiders and things like this, and it's been for like the past 2 weeks, I feel. They've just been really going out, and it's the cover of DWM. It was like, wow, this episode really must be good, because they're really hyping it as something special and creepy and an important episode. But no, it just wasn't really. I know some people are really into it. You know, I see people kind of complimenting it for the simple plot, but I think it kind of was a bit too roundy with its plot, in like it twisty turny. Oh, there's this thing, and there's this thing underneath the hotel, and there's this thing, and there's this thing. It just felt like, well, what the fuck's going on? It's definitely one that I'm probably not going to rewatch until the Blu-ray comes out. And you know, there's parts of this episode I think are going to look spectacular on the Blu-ray, you know, like the Time Vortex. But yeah, it just, I just was like, okay, where's this going? And didn't really go to anything really. But it did end on like a really nice high note for me, and it was the final scene of the companions finally saying they want to travel with the Doctor and establishing their motivations clearly to the viewer. Just in case they didn't pick up on that like the first episode, you know, it's it's Yaz desiring more from life, you know, from a job and a family. Ryan wanting to get away because of his he's working in a warehouse. He doesn't really want to go back there, and Graham, of course, he doesn't really want to go back to empty house. So it was very charming, and it really does seem like we are in for a treat with more of this TARDIS team. I thought they were just spectacular. So unfortunately, Arachnids in the UK is the weakest of this series so far, and I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. A very average story, but it did have some things that I do think made it stand out from the crowd of, you know, your 5 out of 10s. So I think a 6 out of 10 is a very strong rating. Again, the main criticism just being the complete lack of focus within it. So next week's episode is a episode that I have no idea how to pronounce. It's the something conundrum. And yeah, what will this be about? It seems like they're going to wake up in, I don't know, like this hospital, and it's going to be a bit like at the start of episode 2, where we're just kind of wondering where, you know, how they, not really how they got there, but it just exploring the sporadicness of the situation and them finding themselves there. And, you know, that, I guess if they just wake up in hospital, it's quite the contrast to the scene that ended this episode. But yeah, we'll see what that episode is about through the coming week. The trailers are very vague about it, so I wonder what's going to happen. So I will see you next Sunday or Monday, depending on whatever I'm doing. Hopefully Sunday, with, you know, some more art. I'm really loving doing the art for these episodes, and, you know, I want to sort of compile like this little art card collection at the end for episodes. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. The response to last week's was great, so please keep it up, and if you really like this video podcast, like, comment and subscribe. It really means a lot. So thank you very much, have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.